Coming up on Mountain News this morning, when it comes to holiday meals and pets, don't assume if humans can eat it, animals can too. And business owners in Prestonsburg are preparing their stores for a Black Friday event that they say gives as much as it offers. Plus, when the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade steps off in Times Square later this morning, it will include a Kentucky marching band.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning. The time is 5:59 on November 28th. I'm Madison Pergram, and thank you for joining us on Mountain News This Morning. So happy Thanksgiving Day. Let's go to Brandon right off the bat, because Brandon, it's a good day. We have food lined up for today. You're going to your families. I'm going to mine. It's just a good day all around.
It is a good day all around. And listen, before they take the split screen down, I'm going to call you out for something. You have a vested interest in this band that's playing in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade.
I do.
Yes,
it's on my alma mater, and I'm so proud of them. They're great. So I'm so excited to read the story.
She'll talk more about that here in just a minute, but let's talk about the forecast first. As we see a few clouds across parts of the area here at 6 o'clock. Good morning and happy Thanksgiving to you. We're going to continue to see that kind of filter back and forth throughout today. Temperatures chilly, 31 now in Monticello, going up just a little bit there, 40 in Hazard, Ashland 2, 38 Prestonsburg, 33 London, 34 Harlan, 36 in Middlesboro, 32 Williamsburg and Wise, and that's anywhere from 9 to about 23 degrees colder this morning than it was this time yesterday. And what a difference a day makes, right? Southern clouds for much of the day. Temperatures climb into the mid-40s by this afternoon. Enjoy it, and we'll talk more about that forecast for your Thanksgiving and detail your Black Friday coming up here in just a few minutes. Madison.
Thank you, Brandon. Well, many people are hitting the chain stores for Black Friday deals tonight, but business owners in Prestonsburg are preparing their stores for a Black Friday event that they say gives as much as it offers. WYMT's Buddy Forbes spoke to some of those store owners about the event, which kicks off at 9 o'clock tonight.
It is a time of Thanksgiving.
I am thankful for the town of Prestonsburg.
As Prestonsburg merchants,
I'm thankful for our community. I think without our community, my shop would have never grown the way it has.
thank the people who give them their business.
You're giving your money to a local business person. That person isn't a big CEO out in California. That person lives right here in your town.
And encourage them to take part in local deals this holiday season.
You can find unique things here that you're not going to find online. You're not going to duplicate presents for people.
Stores in Prestonsburg are preparing to open their shops for Black Friday deals on Thanksgiving night.
It's a completely different atmosphere than going to a big box store.
An annual tradition that brings as much to the store owners as it does the people who receive the gifts.
There was people wrapped around my building, and I cried a little bit. Like, people actually do like me.
They say when the boxes under the tree are not just from big box stores.
Without the community helping us, we wouldn't be able to make it.
The true gift is the impact that lights up the town. In Floyd County, Buddy Forbes, WYMT Mountain News.
Now, customers can prepare for the event at City Park tonight, where in-store ads for the merchants can be found. And free items will be available at many stores for the first 50 customers, and the deals wrap up at 2 a.m. And Black Friday deals are not the only thing bringing people out to Prestonsburg after their Thanksgiving meals. The annual lighting of Archer Park is set for 6 o'clock tonight. Mayor Les Stapleton says their tradition always brings out families to drive through the park, visit Santa, and enjoy the festivities the park has to offer. He says the family-friendly environment truly lightens the mood during the holidays.
We have over 1 million Christmas lights here, you know, and it brightens up the whole area, and people come through. We had over 42,000 cars come through last year.
The carnival is free on Monday nights from 5 o'clock until 8, and Santa is expected to visit the park every Saturday night from 6 o'clock until 8. And chefs at the Brown Hotel in Louisville have been busy creating an incredible gingerbread house village. This year's creation was unveiled yesterday, but it's still a work in progress. The edible display is 8 feet long, 4 feet high, and 3 feet wide. It took 90 hours to create, and it's made of 90 pounds of freshly baked gingerbread, 42 pounds of icing, 20 pounds of sugar, and 10 pounds of candy. Each year, the Browns culinary team sits down to brainstorm a theme, then sketches out the design on paper.
So we felt that doing a Christmas Lane type theme would be good, where we could do some of these European style living accommodations, and we make it like a snowy village, so it all comes together.
This year's sculpture shows Santa and his holiday helpers. And whether you're eating out or cooking in this Thanksgiving holiday weekend, health experts want food safety to be a priority. Luke Mathis is an environmental health team leader at the Lexington Fayette Health Department who says hand washing or lack thereof is a common culprit with foodborne illness, along with another culprit, leaving food out too long.
Anytime your hands become soiled or if you switch from preparing one type of food to the next, make sure that you wash your hands. Try to not leave the food out any longer than 2 hours before you put it in the refrigerator. And really any food left out longer than 2 or 3 hours should probably be discarded.
Well, specialists say most healthy adults will get rid of a foodborne illness within just a couple of days. They are most worried about seniors and young children. Mathis says that the quickest you'd likely experience illness is 3 or 4 hours after eating. Most foodborne illnesses, he says, will appear several days after eating the bad food. And when it comes to holiday meals and pets, don't assume if humans can eat it, animals can too. WKYT's Andrea Walker breaks down what we can and can't feed our four-legged family members this Thanksgiving.
It can be tempting to sneak a few scraps off your Thanksgiving plates to your pets. They are family, of course, but be careful.
And not only for like the Thanksgiving holiday, but I feel like in general, like all year long, definitely there's a lot of food out there that can be toxic for animals.
Dr. Gabriel Perez is essentially an emergency room doctor for animals, so he's seen the worst case scenarios for what can happen if animals ingest the wrong things. Some of the big no-nos this Thanksgiving include
fatty meals. They can cause like gastroenteritis, it can cause pancreatitis, it can be very painful for them.
Dr. Perez says a small amount of lean meat is okay, but be sure that they don't start chewing on bones. They too can cause issues like pancreatitis, along with gastrointestinal ruptures.
Whether in the stomach or the intestine while the bone is basically passing through the GI.
Some of the less common Thanksgiving foods to avoid include grapes and raisins, which can stress the kidneys, macadamias, which can result in neurological issues, especially in dogs. And then there's gum, which contains xylitol.
Basically tells the pancreas to release a lot of insulin and the xylitol, and that's when they can have like hypoglycemia. And not only that, but it can cause like liver necrosis as well, depending on how much they ingest.
Chocolate is another dangerous food for your pet. It's not something they find in nature, so their bodies don't know how to process it properly. It can cause vomiting, diarrhea, and in extreme cases,
it can cause seizures, it can cause like cardiac disease, arrhythmias. So that's another one that definitely should be avoided.
In general, Dr. Perez says if you can, avoid feeding your pets any human food.
I always tell clients to just feed them like their dog or a regular cat diet, and I think that's the safest way to be.
In Lexington, Andrea Walker, WKYT.
Now, foods containing coconut oil, onions, garlic, avocados, and citrus can also be bad for your pets. And last but certainly not least, nothing containing alcohol, even if they are more than 3 years old. And as Brandon was saying, I'm so excited to read this story. When the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade steps off in Times Square later this morning, it will include a Kentucky marching band. The Madison Central High School band left for the Big Apple earlier this week, getting a police escort for the first leg of their trip. The band has been preparing for the moment in the spotlight for about a year now. The parent of one of the students talked about the opportunity.
I think he's going to be starstruck with how big it is. We were trying to talk about the magnitude of how big the city of New York is in comparison to Madison County.
An estimated 50 million people are expected to tune into the parade, and Madison Central is one of the 6 high school bands who was invited to perform. I will be a proud alumni watching them today. Well, New York Mayor Bill de Blasio says he's keeping his fingers crossed for good weather for the annual Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. He spoke as 16 giant character balloons were inflated Wednesday night, but there's no guarantee they will fly during the parade later today because of expected high winds. Officials said they will make the call about flying the balloons this morning. Macy's spokesperson says wind monitoring stations will be placed along the parade route, and a licensed meteorologist will be on hand to monitor weather conditions and wind gusts. Organizers say balloons can be quickly lowered if winds pick up during the parade.
Listen, I'll volunteer for that detail there in New York if we can get those balloons in the air. But yeah, here's the thing: that rule came about real quick because they had a balloon get away from them, the handlers, in high winds a few years ago and hurt some people. So I can understand why they're doing it. It'd just be disappointing if those balloons don't fly today. Let's take a look outside WYMT. Things all quiet here across the mountains, and that's going to be the trend for today. Cool though. Make sure you grab those jackets on your way out the door for that last-minute trip to the store, going off to the family's house. Traveling today, we'll see temperatures in the 30s this morning, 30s and 40s, and into the mid-40s this afternoon with sun and clouds. Madison.
Thank you, Brandon, and thank you for joining Mountain News this morning. More news is on the way. Coming up, a massive explosion rocked a chemical plant in southeastern Texas early Wednesday morning, injuring multiple people. And how well would your organization operate if there was a 35% turnover rate over a 5-year period? That's what one industry is facing. We'll have those details just ahead.